Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of the Pixel Crashers podcast, a podcast where we discuss our thoughts on gaming news. I am Angelus de Mortiel, together with Kev the Gamer, who was supposed to be late, so in the description of the video it's going to say he's late, so we're going to pretend he's not actually here yet. And instead of Kev not being here, Major Stupidity decided to skip tonight because he had some personal stuff come up. Instead, we're joined by our guest, Nickodemus X.
Uncharted 4 is now life. You can't tell me nothing else. It's life.
And then Deathshroud09. Deathshroud09 is also here. Apparently not shooting things.
I can't even remember the last time I played a video game. I mean, man.
He's not shooting people. That's all that's important.
I'm not shooting people. I'm shooting demons. And it's nice.
Thankfully, I got a, I got a break from the armed self-defense life that is Florida, apparently.
You mean you didn't buy any more guns? Because remember, every time that Travis says he's going to ascend, he buys another gun.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
He feels like his PC wouldn't be safe, so he had to buy another gun to protect it. And or a car.
It's those
to get away from the danger.
It doesn't sound like a bad life, honestly. It doesn't sound bad at all.
There's Reddit deals thread, man. Like, gotta get that.
Get a deal on a 960 then.
Gotta get that $100 bill coded high point that they had on sale.
Oh my!
Oh,
gotta get Doom. Get Doom while it's on sale. Doom!
In any case, so last week, obviously we skipped the podcast because Mother's Day and stuff, holiday. We decided, I guess, to take a week off, and that worked out nicely. However, that meant that we didn't get to talk about some really cool stuff that happened that I can't remember. So. That's the thing that happened.
Oh, you're not just going to do an overview?
Well, I mean, we going to talk about the 1080 and the 1070 because those dropped and everybody was hyped about those.
Yeah.
Battlefield 1 versus Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare is now sitting at 2 million dislikes.
Ooh. Like for real.
Million?
And then Battlefield 1 is like
2,000
Battlefield's at 1.5 million or something like that, right? Likes.
Something like that. Yeah.
I'm still probably picking up.
Is Call of Duty on its downswing yet, or is it still breaking sales every?
It's still breaking sales, dude.
Why?
It's a juggernaut at this point. You can't really stop it. It's kind of like the New England Patriots. You hate them all you want, and they're still gonna fucking win, unfortunately. Or New York Yankees. There's
so
another
all
example.
these people giving it dislikes, are they still gonna buy the game? Is that
Probably.
what I'm hearing? Like,
Yeah, probably.
What's the point? What's the point of disliking the video? You're still gonna buy the freaking game.
It's because they're internet hate boys. That's all they do. They sit on the internet and bitch and complain about stuff, and then when push comes to shove, they actually just do what they're told.
The internet is the world of two extremes.
Yep.
Either you love it or you hate it. Hell, look at how the console war thrives on YouTube. Even people that sit in the middle are like, "Oh, I just like games," get nowhere.
Oh yeah.
PlayStation extremists grow really fast. Xbox extremists grow really fast.
It's not even just console wars, man. It gets into the hardware, the AMD versus Intel stuff.
AMD versus Intel and AMD versus Nvidia does it too.
And then you have people that I'll get to that later. But any case, so we'll run the story so far. So I don't think we had a huge conversation about some of the beta stuff over the weekend of Mother's Day, which was obviously Overwatch's open beta that they had. Overwatch, obviously now it goes on sale next week.
The 24th.
24th, yeah.
Comes out. I have to look. I keep a list of this thing on my computer.
Yeah, but
24th.
So far, it's doing pretty well for like their open beta attracted more than 10 million players, which is pretty damn impressive.
Isn't it one of the biggest betas of all time?
Yeah, it actually ranked up there for a huge beta. Like, there's a lot of interest. The thing is I'm not, like, honestly, when you really look at it, technically, it didn't really need a beta. But
Blizzard, they don't need betas. Blizzard.
That's the thing. They did it entirely for publicity, and it freaking worked.
Oh, yeah.
While we're talking about Blizzard, and since this story is not in here, I wish we would have used this story. Bravo to Blizzard for how they're handling the cheaters. because Ubisoft doesn't have the balls to just ban people, just outright ban them.
Well, you got to realize, Blizzard has experience handling this because obviously this is not their first rodeo with a multiplayer game. They have Heroes of the Storm, which is an esports grade MOBA, and then they have World of Warcraft, both of which have been high profile multiplayer games. So I
hear is damage control for Ubisoft, bro.
No. What I'm saying is Blizzard knows how to fucking do their job. Whereas Ubisoft, they're Abstergo, okay? They're fucking Templars. They're trying to take over the world. Let's just stop fucking pretending. They're making video games about themselves, okay?
Victory. I like it.
In any case, so that was awesome. I had some reservations about the game. Like, the Overwatch, amazingly fun. The problem is in that weekend, I felt like I pretty well experienced the entirety of the game, at least at launch, in one weekend. Which, I guess that's kind of the point, is it's not supposed to be extremely deep or complex. It's supposed to be very, hop in, shoot things, and then hop out. It's Call of Duty, only with a much, in my opinion, much better aesthetic to it.
I don't know. I look at it like, and I think especially because I've been playing Doom, I unlocked everything yesterday. Like, and I'm not even level 30 yet. I've unlocked everything in the multiplayer for Doom, and I've only played maybe 10, 12 hours of it.
Yeah,
and that's including single player. I played a lot of single player too.
That's gonna get old quick.
About there's too much going on, and or not a lot going on in Overwatch, compared to like multiplayer games that have been coming out in the last year and a half, 2 years.
Well, no, what I say is, I'm saying it's about on par. It's not that it's better or worse. It's on par.
I think it has a lot more. Like, I'm looking at like Battlefront.
Well, no, first of all, you got to, I guess saying Call of Duty is a bad comparison because it's a hero shooter.
Call of Duty has quite a bit of content usually.
Yeah, the thing is that to actually grind up the full mastery ranks on Call of Duty usually takes some time.
Yeah, it takes. Like I haven't prestiged yet, but I'm not big on prestiging in Call of Duty.
Yeah, just not a huge amount of point to it. But so the thing is that I still think the gameplay loop, as it were, like your standard hop in the match, hop out, is actually pretty damn fun. Especially when you get a nice team working together. I spent most of my time, and when I say most of my time, I mean like probably about 60 to 65% of my time playing what's his name, the DJ cheesy dude on rollerblades.
Dude, I hated that guy.
No,
I hated fighting that guy.
He is one of the best damn healers in that game because he just has.
I hated fighting against him.
Yeah, that's probably me.
My guy was Roadhog, the big guy with his chain, pull people over like Scorpion. That was my guy.
I could never. I tried him a few times, could never get down with him. Usually,
yeah, it's like Winston. The big gorilla, I couldn't get into him.
I preferred Reinhardt for the tank. That was my go-to tank, was Reinhardt, because I love that shield, and then I love like every time a Bastion, because everybody wants to play Bastion. Right? I fucking hate Bastion already because he just sits there, mounts up as a turret, and sprays everybody as they walk in the room. But when I'm playing Reinhardt, it's so great because I'll see someone with a Bastion mounted up, and they'll start spraying my shield, and I'll get up real close to him and then do the little jet ram thing that he does, knocks him out of their turret mode, and smashes him against the wall and kills him. He's like
even D.Va.
Mm-hmm. That was Zyphon's go-to was D.Va. He played a lot of D.Va.
When she was in her robot, she was great.
Mm-hmm.
But get her out of a robot, and I didn't like.
Well, the idea is that she essentially can die without dying, so to speak.
Right. But I just like her mech. I thought her mech was really cool.
There was a couple occasions where he got the final kill cam because he figured out there's her rocket boost charge. If you mix that with her ultimate, you initiate the rocket boost and then initiate her ultimate. It's essentially you're sending a nuke flying at the enemy.
Mm-hmm. I did it a couple times.
It's great. But
Widowmaker was fun too. I just liked sniping in that game.
Yeah,
felt very satisfying. And I'm not big on sniping.
So is this game multiplayer only?
Yes, it is. It is multiplayer only. It's a kind of an arena type shooter. So it's pretty, like I said, it's pretty simplistic. But you have 21 characters, and those 21 characters are split into 4 different types of characters. So you've got your offensive damage characters, your what do they call them? The defense, which is not necessarily tank. That's another group. Defense, which are designed to be stationary and defend a point, as opposed to offense, moving forward and pushing a point.
I.e. your camper class.
Yeah, your camper classes. Then you have tanks, which, as it sounds, they're tanks. They're meant to be durable, be able to soak up a lot of damage. And then you have support, which are your healers. And essentially you have round about 5 per each of those groups. I don't know who the odd one out was. I'm not really sure which one had.
I'm not sure either.
But in any case, so you want to compose a team of a mixture of those, depending on if you're defending or assaulting a point. All of the maps are objective types, so there's no just straight TDM.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so they're essentially 3 different types of objectives. There's I can't remember the terminology for them. There's one where you have a central point, and
there's payload, and then there was one that was like domination.
Yeah,
and those are the 2 I played the most. I don't remember the other one.
Well, there's one where there's a central point, and both teams fight over trying to capture it, and like whoever holds it the longest wins. Then you have one which is you capture a point. And when you capture the point, it becomes a moving objective that you have to defend.
That's payload. Yeah,
it's payload. And then the other one was... I don't remember. I think there was one that was something like you had to... I don't know. There's another one that was moving. And it was kind of... Oh, yeah, that's right. You had the multi-point takedowns that are kind of reminiscent of Ghost Recon Phantoms or stuff I've seen in Dirty Bomb.
Where you talk about the ones where you had to go unlock one objective and then move to the next one?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the hard points.
Yeah, that's
what they call it in Call of Duty. They call it hard point.
Yeah, so the hard, essentially you have a single point constant one that's like a hard point, but then you have multiple hard points in a match, and those are 2 different types. But... So, like I said, and they've got 3 or 4 maps per each type. You get some variety. It's not bad, but like I said, the overall gameplay loop in about a weekend's worth of time, I felt I kind of experienced everything.
I think this is going to end up being something like Mass Effect multiplayer, and Blizzard supports their games. They do a really good job. So expect to get more maps, expect to get a lot more characters. I expect years of support on this game.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me because it's super easy. As far as development goes, you don't have to worry about doing a whole lot of story content or dialogue or writing for it. You can come up with some basic lore in a couple hours and then start working on visual aesthetics, craft the character, craft the map, whatever. So in that regard, I think it's kind of easy for them to crank out more characters, and hopefully, we do see a Mass Effect thing. I'm still honestly debating whether or not I'm going to buy it, but the one I'm still kind of holding out for that comes out the same goddamn week, because fuck you all, is Total War Warhammer. And that one.
Oh, is that coming out this month?
Yeah, it's coming out at the end of the month, so it's the same thing. But, so that was Overwatch. That was last week. Moving on, then we have 2 games that came out this week, which was Doom and Uncharted. And I'll let Nick and Kev fight over who gets to talk about what first.
Go ahead, Nick. You're the guest.
Thank you, kind sir.
I mean, we're going to say greatness for last anyway.
Oh, of course. Of course. No, Uncharted 4, that's really all I've been playing this week. I've been really trying to get through the story. I know a lot of people, they've kind of, been dipping into multiplayer a little bit and all that good stuff, but for me, I'm trying to avoid spoilers at all costs. So I don't want to have to get a plane ticket and go anywhere and beat somebody up over spoiling the game for me online. I don't want to have to do that to people, so I'm protecting them by not playing the multiplayer right now. Honestly, I've been playing this game and I'm on chapter 17, and this game has been getting mad good reviews, right? 10s, 9s, all over the place. And I'm the type of gamer that when I see stuff like that, I play the game to look for something that kind of diminishes that. So I've realistically been looking at this game every single chapter to try to see if it's less than a 10. And in my honest yet humble opinion, I really do not see hardly any flaws to speak of at all in this game. Like it is just blowing me away. Like chapter after chapter, from the story to the action, gameplay, all that stuff. It seems like they have really done outdone themselves with this game. Like honestly, and coming from me, I'm admittedly an Uncharted fanboy. Like I do love the series and all that, but this game, it seems like Naughty Dog has really, really outdone themselves with this game so far.
This game is amazing. Like I haven't played much of it as Nick has. So I have played some of it, and admittedly I'm more into Tomb Raider than Uncharted, but I'm really, really liking the game. The game is absolutely gorgeous. Plays well. I'm still really early on. I'm not at a 10 yet, but I'm like a high 8.
Yeah, for the first 2 chapters, I was saying it's an 8. But as you go on right now, for me, I wouldn't say it's exactly a 10 because there are some things, just minor things that I don't like about it. Not even really stuff I can really realistically gripe about, but there's minor things that I don't like about it. But aside from that, right now it's a 9.5 for me. And yeah, from the visuals, the visuals in this game, let me just tell you guys, because you guys are PC elitists. Let me tell you guys, for console, you guys got to admit, Kev, you got to admit, this game is like, you look at this and you're like, how is it possible that they're able to do this? Like,
honestly,
yeah, go ahead.
People have been gushing about the graphics for Uncharted. I like the use of colors. I see the shortcuts. But I think even this generation, I think there are better looking console games. The big one for me is The Witcher.
The Witcher, I didn't play it, so I can't really compare it to The Witcher. I just can compare it to the games that I've played, and it's just like, as far as the visuals go, as far as the visuals go, and then all the stuff that goes on in the game, it doesn't seem like there's hardly any compromise at all. I think this is one of the only games that has come out to where the hype for it that was building before the game dropped, it lives up to that hype. As far as visuals, action, story, it really does live up to the hype. Like, I feel like this is one of the first games this generation that hasn't been a letdown. That's my opinion, but
right. I agree with you there.
There's been a lot of AAA games that have majorly disappointed.
Oh yeah, yes. Like I can think of maybe a handful of games this generation I thought were like truly amazing, and like the 2 that come to mind are Uncharted 4 thus far, The Witcher, Doom. I was a little disappointed in the multiplayer with Doom, but single player top notch. Yeah. Black Ops 3. Outside of that, I'm having trouble thinking of a lot of games that are like.
There's
just
not a lot. There's only a handful. Like, really, honestly, and that's sad. Like, what's this, the 3rd year?
Mm-hmm.
Coming up on.
Oh, you know what? Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3. I am not disappointed with Dark Souls 3. I mean, they're out there. You have to really.
The thing is, the thing I will say about Dark Souls 3 is, after doing a lot more research on it, they really played it safe. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3 is a very safe game.
It does not take any leaps, to be honest, in any way. It definitely they definitely kept with the winning formula, so to speak. Made some tweaks here and there, but overall, Dark Souls 3 doesn't really jump out of the pack of Dark Souls games. Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, the whole thing.
Uncharted, I'll say that it doesn't take like huge giant leaps, but you can definitely see there is an effort there. They have made leaps. You can tell that they've learned from their previous games. Like, for example, The Last of Us, they implemented a lot of the interaction between the characters that they had in The Last of Us. They implemented that, but they've also refined that and made it better.
Well, something
you mean that, like when you go by somebody, hit the triangle to hear more dialogue, that kind of thing?
Stuff like that, yes. And then just the little things like the AI, they actually acknowledge each other. Like, when they're next to each other and they're both in cover, they actually, instead of just going through each other, they'll, kind of move over each other. It's little things like that I appreciate what they've done in this game. And the AI overall is pretty intelligent. Like, as far as like the enemies go, it's not the same old, you jump into a firefight and there's enemies in front of you, you got to kill the enemies that are in front of you and move on. Like, these enemies, they actually will flank you. Like, they're surprisingly smart. Like, they will flank you, they will overcome you quickly. That's if you're like a real man, you're playing on hard and above. But unlike
Kev playing on easy mode.
Yes.
So
yes.
I got one good question for you too, and I do normally play most of my games on normal. I'm not going to deny that. Chloe, please tell me she's in the game. I missed the ass.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm only on chapter 17, sir. And
I know she leaves a letter in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Talking to Drake, but I need my Chloe. She's my favorite character.
Yeah, well, I don't want to spoil anything for our viewers or anything like that. So if you really want to, I'll tell you offline a yay or nay on that, okay?
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
So I'll let you know, Kev.
The major thing I will point out.
You want to see them ass cheeks, Kev? That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Give me the cheeks.
Yeah. But something I will say.
1080p.
1440, thank you.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, one thing I will say though
my pinky up.
is when I was talking about like Dark Souls 3 not really taking any leaps. One of the things that Uncharted does is it does excellent storytelling. And when I say excellent storytelling, I don't mean the fucking Order 1886, fucking cinematic bars bullshit. They actually do really good storytelling, and it kind of draws you in with the character, and you feel connected to Nathan Drake. When I say Dark Souls doesn't take any leaps, that's a different type of game, right? Their thing is not with the narrative-driven gameplay, right? Theirs is more of the lore-based gameplay, and now, Joe may have disagreements because I know he's a big fan of Dark Souls 3, but it doesn't seem that it really was a huge improvement. It didn't do anything new from Dark Souls 2.
There is quite a bit of Bloodborne in there. There's quite a bit of Bloodborne in Dark Souls 3 as compared to Dark Souls 2.
Well, I should say it doesn't do anything new unto itself. So Bloodborne, to me, is kind of in the same series, even though it's not connected lore-wise at all. It's the same kind of game, and it's made by the same company. It's like, so it might as well be. Whereas with Uncharted, when you look at what they stand out and they do they try to make a more compelling story where it draws you in even more? If they do that,
yes,
then that's a success to me, because that's the type of game you're playing. You're not playing it as like a Dark Souls super technical fighter, which is essentially what that game is you have to be on point, you have to learn the moves of the enemy and that sort of thing. That's not necessarily what Uncharted is all about. Same thing with Tomb Raider. It's more of telling the story but giving you a very visually impressive spectacle while you're being told the story. But I think, like I said, I think Uncharted, like a lot of people were saying, like, saying that I was dissing Uncharted because I was trying to explain that it was more of a narrative-driven game. And I'm like, no, that's a good thing. I enjoy those games quite a bit. And there's a lot of games that don't do it well.
There's a lot of games
that don't do it well.
Like, I'm going to pick on Halo a little bit. I never felt like Halo's storytelling was a strong suit.
It
has a great story in there.
The first game.
I thought all of them suffer from the same problem. I'm trying to tell you a story and you're shooting that shit. Hey, no, I'm focused on getting these headshots. Well, no. And you want to tell me a story.
No. That's what I'm saying
wait
is...
until the shooting stops and then tell me the story.
The first game balanced out because it's not excessively narrative driven. It's primarily a first person shooter, right? But the little bits of narrative I felt were put in the game in the right point. Like Cortana would be telling you shit while you were driving in between combat sequences, not when you're in the middle.
That makes sense. Yeah, and the first one I think did it a lot better.
Yeah, the first game had the right way of doing it, and then they steadily just went downhill as it went on there. And I think it was because they were trying to shove more narrative in there while maintaining the same pace of action. And that just, it's not the kind of game you're looking at. It's a different type of game.
And while we're talking about story-based shooters, the story in Doom, they actually got that right too. They did a really good job on
Does
that.
the Marine have a name?
No. Actually, they call him the Doomslayer.
Okay.
And I'm at the point where they're starting to now. Like I just got into Hell, and they're starting. Oh, that's kind of a spoiler. You do go to Hell in Doom.
Spoiler alert. I think that's
sorry for the
actually
spoiler.
that's not a
I think people should
spoiler.
know
I
that,
don't
though.
think. No, I'm pretty certain that the guys have been saying, the developers have been saying that. Like
I don't recall saying it. I know it's always been on Mars, so I apologize for the spoiler. But you do end up on Hell, and then they start really talking about the Marine. Beforehand, they're just talking about the humans and where the demons are coming from, why the demons are coming, and then they start talking about you as you get to Hell. And you realize you're a legend, you're a beast.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at now.
And that's the thing is that's what I like about Doom is it does not try to in any way disguise the badass like 80s action movie cheesy goodness.
Oh, totally.
It
totally is.
It's trying to make you feel like you are Rambo and freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger, insert Arnold Schwarzenegger movie here. You are just the ultimate 80s movie badass all rolled into one. And it makes it does not apologize for that at all. It
is probably, I think I'd say, the second best narrative-driven FPS game I've ever played. The best probably being Wolfenstein: The New Order. Doom is a really close second.
Doom?
They do a really good job at storytelling, and the story's actually decent.
I'm trying to think of other narrative-driven FPSs I've played.
Wolfenstein was pretty good. So if you're saying
Wolfenstein: The New Order was great, and
yes.
Doom I think where they differ, I think Doom is a little stronger gameplay-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Wolfenstein told an amazing story. It was great at telling that story.
Yeah.
I wish Wolfenstein had multiplayer, but Wolfenstein's never really had multiplayer.
It's not.
But it would have been cool if it did. Yeah, it's always been a single player kind of thing.
I feel like it's perfectly acceptable to not try to force something in that's not your thing. And right. Travis, please do not say that Fallout 4 is good as a narrative-driven first-person shooter because it is not. Bethesda is not known for particularly strong storytelling. They occasionally have hits. Their tactic in making any Bethesda game is to throw shit at a dartboard, and sometimes stuff hits and sometimes it doesn't. That's really
well. We know I still love Fallout.
I know I love Bethesda to death. I do. I love their lore, especially Elder Scrolls. Huge Elder Scrolls buff. I nerd the fuck out all over the lore for that game. But I'm not going to delude myself into thinking that their strong suit is storytelling because their questing sometimes just is like, the fuck? I mean, I end up, like, let's be honest, okay? Every fucking Elder Scrolls game I've played, I end up like a demigod. Like, don't fucking breathe at me the wrong way or I will disintegrate you. What's the matter? Did someone steal your sweet roll? Like, sorry, that breaks it for me.
It's different strokes too. Like you said, that you love the Elder Scrolls. Now I'm more of a Fallout guy.
Yeah,
totally more Fallout.
I've had difficulty getting into Fallout. That's why, I guess.
Well, you play New Vegas a lot. I always see you on Steam playing New Vegas.
I'm trying. I'm just wandering aimlessly around the desert. See, here's the difference. Elder Scrolls, me wandering aimlessly equals, hey, this pretty trees and sunshine and flowers and grass and it's all pretty and
You got a mod.
No, like me wandering around New Vegas is desert and more desert. Hey, guess what? There's some more desert. You know what? I think his sound just cut off.
Oh man.
Yep.
You muted him.
No, I didn't mute him. I can only mute
about this. Joe would really like to be here to like yell at you for
Fallout, not liking Fallout, or saying that they're not good at storytelling.
Damn.
See, the thing is, let's be straight up. New Vegas isn't even Bethesda. That's Obsidian.
Right. Actually, Joe would appreciate because New Vegas is his favorite one. I was the one that thought Fallout 3 was better.
But I think I agree with you in that, like, I don't like.
I think Fallout 3 is a better. I think
don't
Fallout
like
3
the
is just a
world.
better overall game.
Yeah, I don't like
outside of the factions and the kind of world.
Well, like the world in New Vegas is not like it was not very interesting to me. I guess
Exactly. Like it's just a desert.
Yeah. That's kind of the issue I'm running into. Is
I want to see
if-
Fallout Seattle.
yeah. If
Yeah,
I want to
honestly,
see,
I want to see them go to like somewhere like New Orleans or like
That would be
Detroit.
kinda
That'd be dope.
yeah,
That'd be dope.
New
Or
Orleans
maybe
especially.
have them go back to Southern or California because they went to Northern Cal. Fallout 2 was in Northern Cal.
Yeah,
I think it was like in Sacramento.
yeah, because that's the heart of the
The one with the bear. I can't think of the faction
yeah.
right now.
I can't think of the faction,
Yeah.
but they were also in New Vegas, and that was them kind of drawing on the lore from Fallout 2. You know, but
Yeah, and they were a big deal in
California,
Fallout
New
Vegas.
California Republic, NCR.
There we go. Yeah, New California. There we go. NCR.
Yeah, NCR. But,
Yeah, they were a big deal in New Vegas.
But yeah, so that's the thing though, is that they have a lot of, and come on now, is the United States the only place that got hit by nukes?
All right.
Actually, I think it was.
No, from what I
It is?
understand, it's
So take it to
worldwide.
like Mexico or Canada, or even like London. You know,
London,
South Africa,
Paris, and, you know, like
Asia,
there's
maybe China. You
Yeah,
get all those people in China and then get hit with a nuke.
the
Well,
only
that's gotta be
problem.
catastrophic in China.
You just gotta be careful with that one though, because they might accuse you of trying to say that you're gonna drop a nuke on them.
True. And you're like, no, we're just telling the story, dude.
Yeah, but in any case, though, I'm all for Fallout New Orleans. Straight up, I'm good
Oh,
for
yeah.
that. I
I'd
think
play
that would be, because that town is so damn colorful. It would be great to see that in the Fallout universe.
And well, I just want to see more games there. 'Cause I think that's just a great place to tell a story. Can't wait for Mafia 3. That's supposed to take place. I don't remember if it's in Baton Rouge or in New Orleans. I think it's New Orleans though.
It very well could be both. They don't shy away from going to multiple cities in an area.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that would be. I'm really, especially I love Mafia 2. I'm looking so forward to Mafia 3.
I never played a Mafia game, but this new one, it's piqued my interest through the trailers and reading up on it a little bit.
Do you still have
Oh.
your 360?
Oh, yes, sir.
You are criminally insane.
yeah,
to not have
Mafia.
played Mafia 2.
Oh, no,
Really?
That is-
both of them. Mafia 1 and Mafia 2 are both fantastic games. Like,
Is it
I
necessary
haven't
for me to play 3?
a little bit because they're gonna bring back the main character in 3. That I think he's kind of a cameo. But not playing Mafia 2 on the 360 generation is about as crazy as like not playing like GTA 4 or not playing Red Dead Redemption.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, I'm
we're talking
happy.
about that
The only
level
one-
of crazy.
The only
I've never
one
played GTA. I played Red Dead. I definitely played that, but I never played
It's,
GTA.
it's up there with Red Dead as far as level of quality.
Really?
the only
Yes,
Hmm.
it's
the
up
only
there.
one of those 3 that I played was Red Dead Redemption.
No, the thing is,
Yeah,
the thing
you're
that I
not
love,
alone, dude. That's the only one I played too. You're not
the
alone.
thing that I loved about the original Mafia, which was by the way a PlayStation 2 original Xbox era, I like you had to pull up to gas stations and fill up your car with gas.
Oh, you
you
have to
know.
do that Mafia 2 too.
Yeah, no,
Getting
they carried that on to Mafia 2, but I was like, for that style of game back then, I was like, what? And then, like I said, it was a very classic story, Mafia story. Yeah, very classic Mafia story. It was great. You could just drive around town and like see gangsters and just start shooting at them. It was like GTA, only 1920s, 1930s version.
Yeah.
Right, that's what it felt like to me. And then Mafia 2 again continued on that, and I love the way they spanned time because essentially it was before the war and after the war, and you went in 1940s, right, and everything was 1940s era. You came back, it was like 20 years later, not 20 years, 10 years later, whatever. But they span multiple decades through there, and by the time you get to like the 60s. And it's like the radio stations are playing different music. It's actually really cool the way they've done it. And Mafia 3, like I said, everything I've seen of it, it's just carrying it on with that even further. And I'm really excited for that.
I hope for another prison fight or prison shower fight scene because that's like my favorite part of Mafia 2. You like literally fight dudes off your ass.
Oh, really? Do you get an achievement or a
you
trophy
get
for that?
You get locked up for a brief period of time, and they corner you in the shower. You get into a nice little
Whoa.
fist fight.
awesome.
The prison section in Mafia 2 is amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It is one of
play
the
this game.
best
I play
games
it.
I played from last
I
gen.
don't know why I slept on it though. Like I've heard
A
about it
lot
and
of people
everything.
have this apparently, and
Yeah.
that game is a masterpiece.
I guess I have been
Wow.
playing a game, at least one single game, this week, and that would be Trivia Crack.
Oh
You guys
God.
know what that is.
Stop. Please
That's
stop.
one of the things I say, and I play Candy Crush. I played Minesweeper this week. Travis,
Please.
we need you to hurry up and ascend or to buy an Xbox One. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, do something. Yeah, you
or
gotta do something over there.
PS4. I mean,
Yeah,
'cause
let's not forget.
I'm just throwing it out there. You buy an Xbox One, you're not gonna get to play Uncharted.
That's right, my friend. That's right. You're gonna miss out on the greatness.
Yeah, and
This gen-
that's like the best game that you can get
But
for a
Gears
console
4.
right now.
The Gears 4.
Gears 4.
Gears 4. Yeah, I'm excited for Gears 4. Actually, Gears 4 is the game that's gonna make me buy an Xbox One. Believe it or not. So
I'm
Yeah.
I'm at the point where Gears 4. I don't know if I can wait for it to come to PC. I might just get it on Xbox.
See, but
Yeah, you
does
should,
Xbox
because-
have an answer to Little Big Planet?
oh, they don't
My
anymore.
PC has lots of platformers.
No, that's not. There's a very specific thing that game.
I've
does.
never played Little Big Planet, so I don't know.
It's a build. You build your own platforming level, and then you.
So it's
can
Mario
go through-
Maker.
Essentially, yeah. For like,
But Little Big Planet did it first.
yeah, Little Big Planet did it like what was it? PlayStation 2, right? Was the first Little Big Planet, or was it
And
Yeah,
I
PS3?
yeah.
remember it was on
PS.
there.
PS2.
But I saw little plush toys. It's like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna play this.
Yeah, but
It's one thing like Kingdom Hearts. Like I don't care if you give Donald Duck and Goofy a sword or not.
yeah.
No.
It's
Well,
not for everybody.
But here's the
Definitely
thing: is that and this is tying into our first story is that Microsoft had an answer for Little Big Planet for
Yes, they did.
Xbox called Project Spark, which was
Is that
you know,
really fair? Project Spark was supposed to be everything. Like it was literally supposed to be you design your own games.
yes, it had so much going on for it, and Microsoft has announced this week that it's going to go dark now. So it's the Spark is dying, unfortunately.
Why?
So essentially
They
they're
did this
removing it
recently.
from the Xbox and Windows stores this week, and then the servers will be shutting down user content starting in August. And the reason why is probably because it did.
God damn.
Well, essentially, they were selling it for money. It didn't sell very well, so then they converted it to be a free game to just get people to kind of try it out and get more content up there because the game kind of derives its purpose, its meaning, so to speak, from user-created content. It's kind of like Mario Maker in that way, but unfortunately it doesn't have the popularity of Mario. Mario has obviously, 3 decades worth of, popularity behind it, so when a Mario Maker game comes out, you get all kinds of people doing that stuff.
Well, I think part of the problem, and this is part of the problem with I think kind of Microsoft and the Xbox, there's not enough IPs, and
There's really
like
not.
the IPs that they kind of have for exclusives. You
Well-
have 3 big IPs: Forza, Gears, and Halo, and they're all great IPs. I'm not knocking the IPs, but there's not enough variety in their exclusives, in
Well,
my
yeah,
opinion. Like,
it-
and they're long-standing exclusives. I mean,
Yeah,
Right.
to really build up something like that.
and that was
And I
kind
mean,
of
Nintendo kind of in the same way. Most of theirs are platformers. I mean, you have stuff like Smash and Zelda, Mario
Well,
Kart,
and
but
that's kind of my question on there is after the shutdown of Lionhead, and Fable essentially getting tossed in the trash can, although they're refusing to sell that to anybody. How does that bode for their less popular genres? Because at this point, you've got pretty much sports games and shooters for the Xbox platform. Like that
I
seems
mean,
like
I wouldn't even
that's-
say sports games because they have shooters.
Well, you've got like your
And they have
Madden, you have
Forza.
your
everyone
your-
on the PC gets Madden.
Oh no, I know. I'm just saying. I'm not talking exclusive wise. I'm talking about their heavy hitters, so to speak, that you could get on Xbox, even if they're cross-platform. You've got sports and you've got shooters. I can't really think of any good RPGs on Xbox. Like
All the same
No.
ones everyone else gets: Dragon Age, Fallout, Witcher. They're all multiplats. Like, I don't think PlayStation has any good RPGs.
Yeah.
Like
Nintendo doesn't.
Well,
Not
I
exclusive.
mean, they do have good exclusive RPGs. It's not the ones that a whole lot of people are going to flock to. They have a lot of the JRPGs that are exclusive.
Oh, okay. Then
Yeah,
the more
that's
niche
true, 'cause
stuff.
they are
Sony. They're
I
really
always
good
forget
games.
about the JRPGs.
They're really good games, but a lot of people, they're not going to.
Well, that's kind of Sony's thing, right? Because them and Nintendo, right, are from Japan, so obviously they get hits on those JRPGs. And since Sony is the kind of love child of Japan at this time, those JRPGs are huge sellers over there.
I mean, Sony's the love child of the world. Everybody loves Sony.
Yeah.
Xbox community in general, the fans, they really just need to broaden their horizons and support these games because they want more IPs. They want this, they want that. But when you got a game like Project Spark comes out and you don't get that support, what else do you expect is going to happen?
Exactly.
Like, if you guys are not supporting these games and willing to put the freaking guns down for a second to try something different, something new,
so get off your damn Call of Duty.
You're not going to get anything else but shooter games. That's all you're going to have on that platform. And you whine and you complain that you don't have anything else besides that, but yet when they bring you stuff like this, you don't support it. Like I don't get the community.
That's why I'm disappointed with the close down of Lionhead, because I really think if they would have brought like a real Fable game, not this Fable Legends stuff, a real Fable game, and it was good, that would have been so big for the Xbox One.
Yeah,
and it would have got the RPG market there, who's now they're probably on PC or they're on PlayStation.
Something that I really think. Like thinking back, that would have been great for the Fable series would be taking a note from what Kingdoms of Amalur did. I feel that was a better Fable game, a Fable style game than any other game that had been released by Lionhead past the first one.
I don't know. Like the first Fable game, and when I say the first Fable game, I of course mean Lost Chapters. The full first Fable game, not 2/3 of the first Fable game, was actually good. It was fantastic. It was a great RPG, great game. I mean, yes, Peter Molyneux was a little too excited and overtalked the game a bit, but what we actually got delivered was a fantastic game. Every sequel after that just went downhill, and the epitome of failure was that the Kinect, I don't even remember what it was called, the Kinect Fable game was just the most atrocious thing to ever happen.
Yeah, the idea of a Kinect Fable sounds atrocious, and it's like I think that's like I like Fable 3. I will say that up front. I like Fable 3. And I think a lot of the problem is that they tried to make Fable into so many different things. They made the first one, everybody loved it, and they didn't know what to do with the rest of them. They didn't know what to do with the IP.
Well, as soon as like you had and I hate whenever games do this, right? That's something that bugged me about the Elder Scrolls. You build me this world. You build me this fantastic world with these creative characters that I get attached to. And then now, Elder Scrolls did it in a different order than Fable did. Fable 1, between Fable 1 and Fable 2, 300 years or something like that between them. And then Fable 2 and 3 are literally right after each other. Fable 3, you play as the child of the main character from Fable 2.
Well, I mean,
it's a direct...
I feel like it's just a symptom of Lionhead losing sight of why people liked their first game, why they liked Fable.
Well, they're not the only ones. Like I said, Elder Scrolls did that where you had Morrowind to Oblivion was literally directly afterwards, almost immediately. And then Oblivion to Skyrim was 200 years jumping forward in the future, and it wasn't just 200 years of silence and nothing happening. No, it was 200 years of a bunch of shit happening that you have now missed.
What about Dragon Age? I feel like Travis was talking about they forgot what the people really liked about them. And I feel like that's the problem with Dragon Age.
Yep.
Dragon Age Origins, most people say it's the best Dragon Age game.
Yeah,
but 2 and Inquisition are very different games.
Well, no,
are extremely different.
Well, here's the thing, and I've played a lot of Dragon Age, so I kind of get a nice feel for it. Is what happened is that Dragon Age Origins came out. It was a tactical RPG, very heavily story-driven because it's BioWare. Okay, cool. Dragon Age 2 comes out. It's an action RPG with a, very heavily story-driven. Okay.
And that's like kind of like the difference between Mass Effect 1 and 2.
Yeah, and people...
And the thing that has them in common? EA.
Well, no, EA's owned BioWare for like 15 years now. It wasn't an EA thing. It was the changing of the guard. Because if you look at all of the games that came out around the Dragon Age Origins era, Mass Effect 1, Dragon Age, and everything previous to that, they had a very simplistic formula. When you really boil it down, you have complete starting area to introduce you to the story, the world, and the basic characters. Then you have three areas that you can complete in any order you wish to complete sections of the story, introduce you to more stuff, blah, blah, blah. Then you have final story zone, and that's where the finale comes in. If you look at Mass Effect, did that exact thing. If you look at Dragon Age Origins, it did that same thing. If you look at Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, same thing. They had that same formula for storytelling in all those games. They, to their credit, they started to try to get away from that, get into a little bit more progressive style of storytelling. That's where you saw Mass Effect 2, Dragon Age 2, both tried to push the envelopes into more action-focused. It worked for Mass Effect 2 because that's a shooter. Dragon Age 2, it's a fantasy RPG. It's not going to work so well. But Dragon Age Inquisition, they realized their goof up. So instead of going back to being a tactical RPG, they instead decided to try to Frankenstein the both together.
And made it open world.
And then threw in the open world and MMO checkbox quest.
So much fucked up Dragon Age. Open world.
I really wonder why these game developers do this to themselves in terms of throwing a game so far. You have a world with a set history, and a timeline that there's going to have stuff happening in between, and you choose to throw it so far forward, your next game so far forward into the future. Why? I feel like that's just kind of digging yourself a hole, right?
Yeah, totally.
Because making prequels and making games in between is really, really difficult. So you shut out all of that history and all of that story.
Not necessarily. If you consistently jump a game, if you have 3 games, a trilogy of games, so to speak, and each one progressively jumps forward a long period of time, that actually works out well for you, because essentially what that allows you to do is, while you keep the lore and you keep the universe and you keep the history of that world, you can disconnect immediate decisions that were made in the previous game.
What they're doing with Mass Effect Andromeda.
Exactly.
But it also depends, because eventually you kind of jump the shark with it, right? You can only go so far with that in many different settings. There's only so much future you can go into before it just gets ridiculous.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Imagine if Fable had kept going at its ridiculous 200, 300 year jump. Eventually we'd be Fable in space.
The problem I had was actually continuity. Was actually not so much that there was that 200-year jump. It's that there was, and then there wasn't. It was the, Fable 1 to Fable 2, there was a couple centuries of a jump. Then Fable 2 to Fable 3, there was no jump. If they had kept it and said 200 years from Fable 1 to Fable 2, 200 more years from Fable 2 to Fable 3. I would have been more okay with it, despite it being Fable in space by that point. I would have been more okay with it if they had at least been consistent. It drives me nuts whenever I can't get my feet on the ground, so to speak. I feel if I come into a world and I'm like, I know right where I am. I'm familiar with this. Like Oblivion, what made Oblivion so great for me is first step foot on the ground. Yes, the game looks completely different than Morrowind in a lot of ways, but I felt at home there. I knew there because I'm like, I go up to Cheydon Hall and it's right on the border of Morrowind, and I hear like so many references to the game I had just played, Morrowind, where all this stuff happened, and they're talking about the Nerevarine. I felt at home. I felt like I had a place there.
Not whenever I haven't played Morrowind yet.
Yeah.
I played Oblivion. Oblivion was my first Elder Scrolls game.
Mm-hmm.
And going through those parts of Oblivion, I learned like so much. Like it wasn't really hidden. It was pretty, direct, but I also like read all the books and everything in that game. But
yeah.
That's when nobody apparently, most people probably won't. But I learned about like Morrowind and stuff from Oblivion.
You actually learn about all of the Elder Scrolls game from the books. There's books you'll find that will explain the history of the first two games pretty clearly, and it's kind of fascinating that they do it that way.
I mean, that's awesome, right? Like I liked that a lot. Oblivion. Like, people who are Morrowind purists will say it's not that great, it's really streamlined, but I feel like this streamlining got so bad from Oblivion to Skyrim, it was honestly, it was quite jarring. Like, I have not completed Skyrim. I have not beaten that game, because I just put it down, I couldn't play it anymore.
Yeah.
I just was not having fun with it.
Yeah, well, the thing...
enough for me to do.
Yeah, the thing I'll kind of go on, though, is that, sometimes developers lose sight of what their audience actually really wants out of the game. That is very true. And to kind of segue that into our next story, we'll talk about a publisher that is an expert at not listening to a damn thing that their actual players want.
Call of Duty?
No, that would be Perfect World Entertainment. So there was this cross-platform MOBA, Gigantic, that was actually going to be PC, Xbox crossplay. So if you were on PC, you could play with people on Xbox. Supposed to be this big thing. Well, the problem is they ran into some money troubles, which stalled the development of the game. For a while there, it looked like that it was never going to happen. And then recently, Perfect World announced they bought Motiga, the developer of Gigantic. Which was very sad news for me, because I'm like, well, now it's pay to win. Because Perfect World makes EA look like an angel.
Really?
In their effects. If you look at where I base this example is Cryptic Studios, who developed two amazing MMOs, Star Trek Online and Neverwinter, which were two completely different genres. One, obviously, Star Trek, starships and phasers and all that shit, and Neverwinter, which is based off of D&D, and it's very fantasy-esque, elves and all that shit. Both were amazingly designed games that have great engines. As soon as Cryptic got purchased by Perfect World, all of a sudden it turns into a fucking unlicensed gambling ring. And I log into the game and I'm just bombarded with messages that pop up on the screen on who got what from a fucking lockbox. I don't care. I don't know anybody that does care. Stop telling me. No, they do that because it's all designed to get you to buy those damn lockbox. The entire game is shaping to put you into buying shit. So it's now turned into literally a pay-to-win scenario where you get into the end game, you can't do anything you want. Well, that's the concern for this one. And I guess...
Transaction simulator is what I just heard.
Yeah, exactly. And my question is, do you guys think that that's going to be the same thing for this game? Or do you think it's too far along in development where they won't do it?
That's what I was just thinking. I was thinking that maybe is too far in development to where they won't change it to that level. I hope not, because I have been following this story with Gigantic, and even though I haven't been able to play it, it did seem like it was a promising game. It did look like really fun, and I was pretty. I wasn't sad, but I was, a little upset to hear that Motiga wasn't possibly going to be able to finish the game. I mean, anytime a studio closes down or anything like that, whether I'm, investing in it or not, is definitely not a good thing to hear. So, and hearing that Perfect World's picking them up, it's shed some light on the game a little bit, because now the game could possibly, come out, be finished, and be what it was originally meant to be. So I'm hoping it's too far in development to where it won't be that trash that you just mentioned. Because that would definitely ruin this game. Because this game right here, it was never meant to be like that at all.
No, neither were those other
in no
games.
shape, form, or fashion. So
I don't trust Perfect World, but I don't trust these developers either. And you have to think, how in the hell are they going to dethrone Dota or League or even Heroes?
Well, I think
Heroes
in a lot of cases,
not as popular, but it's holding its own.
Well, no, the thing is that really when it boils down to it, having a MOBA out there, the big thing that this is that one of the unique things it does is it's in the console space. How many MOBAs are in the console space?
Right,
we have right now
Smite.
Smite is the only officially released one on there.
It's still in
Paragon is not.
It's still in beta.
But it's actually been released. Paragon is not actually. It's early. Like you have to pay to get into
early access.
Paragon.
It's early access type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to pay to get into
20
to
bucks
Paragon.
to get in. Yeah.
Yeah. So is that in that regards, Paragon is not actually out. Smite is readily accessible, and I see a ton of people. I when I look at my Xbox app, I see a ton of people playing Smite on Xbox right now. So it's definitely something that is sought after, because there is no MOBAs on there are no MOBAs on consoles. So
Right.
Gigantic, uniquely poised, because it's not just a console MOBA. It's a console/PC MOBA. You can play with each other. So that kind of adds a unique value in there. If, say, I have all these friends that are on consoles, I don't get to play games with them anymore because my Xbox 360 is dead and I don't have an Xbox One. So, yeah, that's like...
That could be pretty big. Is
Like-
this thing still supposed to be exclusive to Xbox, or is
I hope not.
this new studio possibly going to be making it
Well,
multiplayer like?
so as far as history goes, the only one that has really had games of note has been, like I said, Cryptic Studios. That's their love child. That's their big money maker. And if I remember correctly, Neverwinter has been on Xbox One and PlayStation for a while now.
It's Xbox for about a year now.
Oh, is it just Xbox? So then I'm
It's just
assuming
on Xbox One.
Star Trek Online just got released for consoles, and I'm assuming that's probably then just on Xbox as well.
Yeah, it got announced for Xbox. I don't know if it's on Xbox yet.
Not yet. It's soon to be released for
It's
Xbox.
coming.
Because Paragon is only on PS4 and PC, and I played a little bit of Paragon. MOBAs. I'm a console gamer, so I don't really know much about MOBAs. So I tried a little bit of Paragon. It was okay. But honestly, the gameplay of Gigantic looks a hell of a lot more fun, and it seems like it's like something I could easily get into. So I was kind of hoping that this new studio would bring it to PS4 as well, so I can get my hands on it.
It's going to be tough on there because given that looks like Xbox has been the more easily attainable one on there. Well, Smite, like you said, Smite's on both, isn't it? Right? Is it?
Yeah,
It
Smite's
might
on
came
both.
out to PlayStation more recently, but it's been
Yeah.
on Xbox
Yeah.
for a while.
So that's a even more primed target, so to speak, because you definitely doesn't get a lot of love. So if this got more love to the PS4, they would have because come on now, why in the hell would you focus on Xbox unless Microsoft's paying you money, which I don't really see.
Can I be honest? Why are so many companies outright focusing on exclusivity unless one company's paying you?
It depends on your resources, right? Because you actually have to, essentially create 3 games and translate the code between them in order to code them for the 3 platforms. Actually, I shouldn't say that. No, You essentially, if you want to do it all platforms, you have to make the game twice. One for OpenGL API and the other for DirectX API. The OpenGL is used by PlayStation, and then DirectX is used by Xbox and PC. So that's the reason why they go for Xbox, is because it requires less work for them to do, since it's still using DirectX. That's the reason why. I didn't think about that at first, but now that I thought about it, I was like, yeah, that's the reason why. Because honestly, if you're trying to make money out of it, why would you not go for PlayStation? Because that's obviously the bigger,
that's the bigger market besides PC.
Yeah, that's a much bigger target. So yeah.
But I'm saying, like, and then if you're gonna go PC and PS4 anyway, like you said, we're already in DirectX. How much more work is it really to port it to Xbox at that point?
Yeah, well, because essentially, if you focus on PlayStation and PC, it's pretty much that Xbox is just going to be given at that point. Except if you're Rocket League, which that took them a while to get on, or do they even have it on Xbox yet?
Yeah, it's on there now.
It came on Xbox, but it's only been on there for like a couple months.
Like I knew it took a while because it was PlayStation 4 and PC for a long time. And for whatever reason, it took them forever. It's not that complicated of a game, but maybe Sony was throwing them money.
Exclusivity rights.
That's probably what it is. Sony throwing them money. But so do you guys final verdict? Do you guys think that Perfect World's gonna fuck this game up too?
I hope not. From what you told me, I mean, history always repeats itself. So. I just hope it's too far in development.
It's not very kind to the studio.
Yeah,
but hopefully it's too far in development. That's the only hope this game has.
I hope that they've changed some of their bit, because they bought Cryptic a long time ago. It was like 2007 or something like that. So maybe their policies and their practices have changed a bit since then. I don't know. I know that, like, I've had a couple of friends that have done some developer studio tours, and a couple of them might have worked at Perfect World, and also have told me how amazingly bad, I should say Perfect World, the one that's in the United States. So you've got, and I think that's Perfect World. I already
have a bad place being called Perfect World.
Yeah, right. Apparently it's a horrendous place to work. Like
Konami level?
Worse. No,
worse?
Sorry. No,
worse. This is brought to you by Fuck Konami.
Yeah, .com.
Fuck Konami News.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. You got to realize, first of all, the main parent company, Perfect World, is actually based in China, outside of the special economic zone. So they are not technically a company that is capitalistic. So that's the funny part of it, right? Their branch, Perfect World Entertainment, which is the U.S. base, that's where the games they run here, operate in a capitalistic area, but don't really seem to understand what their parent company wants. So they make a lot of really bad management decisions on a very frequent basis. So, and in that regard, they have very high turnover rate. Now, granted, the way they step up from Konami is you can actually leave Perfect World. You can quit the company, unlike in Konami, which you can't quit.
You could leave Konami, but it usually involves a casket.
Man, is that real over there?
Like this rumors, uncorroborated rumors, but it's
blood in, blood out.
I suspect. Well, no. See, Hideo Kojima made out, and he's not in a casket. He survived.
Yeah, but he's Hideo Kojima.
He was untouchable.
This is kind
that's
of an
why.
edge case, right?
Yeah, he's untouchable. Yeah. That's what it is.
It's one of the things like being Michael Jordan. Hey, that's the kid out the hood that made it out.
Kojima is protected by the Yakuza, so
I think they realize that if they kill Kojima, people will come after that ass.
Yeah.
Konami will burn to the ground.
I'm pretty certain that Konami is the Yakuza, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there, guys. When you say
Konami's the Illuminati.
No, that's Konaminati. Yeah.
Speaking of gigantic, I want to just go ahead and send a message to the Xbox community. Please support this game. This game's getting a second chance. Get off your asses and
As long
try
as
something different.
as long
Please
as Perfect
try
World
something
doesn't
different.
pay the
It doesn't have
the
a
shit.
gun. They won't support it. Should have got Battleborn exclusive.
You guys want different, but you don't want different. Y'all need to support this game.
Yeah,
It
no,
looks fun.
Battleborn. Come
They
on
want-
now.
they want more
Battleborn's a
Gears, more
MOBA
Call of
with
Duty, more Halo.
guns.
They want guns and cars, bro. Guns and cars.
Guns and cars,
like I
just
said,
like Texas and Florida.
Battleborn's a MOBA with guns and swords.
If they would have made it exclusive, I bet you they would have supported it.
Yeah,
Guns and cars, bro.
pretty much. Anyway, let's go ahead and get moving on to our last story, which does actually involve some guns and cars. Not really. So, ESL, the Electronic Sports League, established a governing organization called WISA, or the World Esports Association, to regulate esports in general. It's kind of implementing sweeping rules and controls across the entire esports scene, including anti-doping and player trading restrictions. This actually brings up is coming back full circle. So, like on our second and third episodes of this podcast, we had actually talked about the doping scandal in the esports scene and how ESL had come down and said that they were going to implement controls and do something about it. Well, here we are now. What? 4,
Almost
5,
a year
6.
later.
Yeah. No, not.
We're
Oh
almost
yeah,
a
you're
year,
right.
dude.
You're right. Damn. Almost a
We started
year
the show
later.
in July of last year.
Yeah, so that was like episode 2 and 3 of the podcast, and yeah, this is where it's at now. A year later, they finally found this WESA, and essentially the way it works is they have a 50% say in what happens with WESA. The other 50% is actually divvied up amongst the actual pro teams. So you actually get players giving input into this organization. But my main thing is will this actual organization resolve the problems that are facing esports with like doping and that sort of thing? Because, and I will add on there one other thing that's a big deal that this is also doing is it's regulating player trading. Which that was something that was kind of done shady as fuck. Like that shit was shady as fuck. Travis is laughing because he knows what I'm talking about.
Look now, I'm like, I know some inside stories now.
All I'm saying is I'm pretty certain that I might have heard a couple of the players on one of the teams getting sold for packs of cigarettes to another team.
Wow.
Wow.
Like, I know about, players, just like discussions, like in the middle of tournaments of like switching teams after the tournament's over.
Yep.
It's just like craziness.
So but my question is, do you guys think that this is actually going to be a final solution, so to speak? Is this going to be like be able to cover it?
People will cheat if they're gonna cheat.
It's possible. Like the problem you get with these organizations is that they're ripe for corruption, right? Mm. And especially if they don't have like
accountability. Who's going to keep them accountable?
Yeah, like
who's keep them from taking a bribe from the team, basically.
What is their the organization's interest going to be? Like, what do they gain from not becoming corrupt, right? So
it's like just, U.S. Congress in a way.
Well, I will throw it out there.
It may work. Right. It may not. It may work, it may not. I have no idea.
I will throw it out there that it is actually, like I said, they are actually trying to at least have some sort of counterbalance in the sense that they actually have both players and suits that are in this body. So half of it's going to be ESL members, with suits, so to speak, and then the other half is actually going to be elected players. So certain specific representatives from pro teams are going to be in there. Problem I have is that you have so many different cultures represented in there. I would hope that they get some diversity in that. because that could, like, you got some Korean teams in there, you've got that are completely different from American teams and so on. And ESL is worldwide; they're not U.S. based, so that's a concern I have. I hope that it'll at least stem the human trade, human trafficking that goes on in esports.
I cannot believe that is happening.
I'm not even joking.
I had no idea human trafficking was happening. It's on esports.
Come on.
You know? I hear about it like the sex trade, but esports?
Come
esports,
on.
it's shady
Like,
as
is Counter-Strike really that serious, bro?
Yeah, Counter-Strike, fucking
it
StarCraft,
be.
StarCraft, man. Why do you think it's always like these third world countries that are doing so well in there? It's like you get these random guys from North Korea. Well, they got kidnapped by some guy from Slovakia. Whose name?
I thought those were just like the guys. We have them in high school here. They don't get laid. They're in high school because what do? They sit around. They play the game. It's just girls. They like, I don't want to get laid. I just want to play video games. And they come MLG.
By the way,
and then they pull
that
up
is
chicks.
you're age, you're dating yourself, Kev, because that's not a thing anymore. Chicks in high school nowadays dig the nerds. So
that was not my experience.
Yeah, that was never my experience either. So.
Unfortunately,
I also live in Florida.
I was on the basketball and track team for a reason. It was the best way to pick up chicks.
Yeah, I guess that can work.
So I naturally was able to pick up chicks.
And there's the racial joke, just dropping that in there. He was saying I wasn't burnt, so I wasn't charred.
Yeah, well, I was born this way.
That was the joke. And Manhattan, by the way, was, man, he's so. Every time he walks into some place, women keep turning him down. That's why he's so dark, because he keeps getting burned.
Oh,
damn!
And I'm like, that is.
It's okay.
Cool.
It's okay now because now chicks say like skin dude soft.
Nah,
they like the dark meat now.
Nah, we back because of Steph Curry and Drake. So we back on top again.
We talk about Drake now.
Drake is not.
Drake is proud of how many records?
He's selling records, sir. And Curry about to win another title. So we here, here, bro.
Steph Curry, that dude. I can't get mad at that. He got a second MVP. I ain't mad at Steph.
Yeah, we here, man. we back on top.
But you know what? A dark skinned brother is still the best player in the league.
Not LeBron.
Yes, we talking about LeBron, bro.
No, sir.
No.
That's not better than LeBron.
Wait,
Yes,
you're saying that LeBron
all
James is better
player.
than Steph
Yes,
Curry?
No, Curry all around is a better player. I mean,
No,
not by
okay.
much, but yes.
It's kind of funny.
there.
I just saw an article about this the other day where LeBron James is going to be they're going to do a Space Jam 2 starring LeBron James.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Someone threw some water on that fire and said that it should have been Steph Curry. Because LeBron James isn't as good. And I'm like, what? That's kind of cold. But he did make a point on the personalities of the NBA during that time. You did have a lot more signature personalities, right?
Yeah, you did.
You had Patrick
really
Ewing, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley. You had these signature personalities. It wasn't like they were just good players. They were personalities. Like, you
Absolutely.
knew Charles Barkley. You knew who that was. That's Charles
Still
Barkley.
know Charles Barkley.
Yeah, you still know who he is.
And they talk the shit.
I can barely
TNT.
fucking understand the guy, but I know who he is.
Yep. It's slim pickings right now.
He
It
doesn't
is
even
slim
make
pickings.
sense.
Because everybody afraid to say something. They gonna get fined.
Yeah, something. But
They
yeah,
take it to social media. You saw what they did to Dwight Howard
right.
when he said something on social media.
Yeah.
But
Shut
yeah,
them down.
in any case though, yeah, so they were complaining because they were like, yeah, you had a lot of signature personalities back then that you could make up a team with, and nowadays you really don't. But
What up, Purdy?
listen,
Nerds were cool in Florida.
the thing is that
love it.
I unfortunately had a disconnect from that because up until I was in my probably mid-20s, I was in the music industry, so I didn't even really know what like a lot of the nerd stuff was. Unfortunately, I was kind of disconnected from it, and I really wish I would have got into it sooner. It's unfortunate because I would have been happier. I would have started YouTube channel back, years ago, like a decade ago.
Yeah, me too.
This is a different kind of nerd. That's all it really is.
It's still a nerd. Kind. But it's different kind. Yeah, that was the kind of issue I ran into as I was in the music industry for so long. I was like, what is this technology? Video games? Didn't have time for that shit. Okay, fair enough. I actually did play a lot of video games.
I can figure out the meta in Dark Souls, or I can figure out subtractive synthesis. I made my choice.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. The thing is that I had a lot of dead time spent in hotels, so that's where gaming kind of worked on there. I totally figured out just about every hotel during that era how to break the cable mounting bracket they had on the back, so I could hook up my Xbox to the TVs in hotel rooms. That was my highlight of my time in the music industry.
I wonder if that's why they don't even block it anymore. Because my wife and we had our anniversary in March. I brought my PS4 to the hotel.
Yeah.
With the idea was we were going to get movies from Redbox and watch them there, but as soon as she went to sleep, I pulled out that controller. I was on that PS4.
Well, the thing is that like some of the hotels, like whenever one of the things like towards I believe the end of our of my wife and I's honeymoon, we actually that's where we got X-Men First Class. Just came out on DVD. We was like, you know what, we'll give it a shot. We were still kind of burnt from X-Men 3, but we gave it a shot. 3. Oh God, it was so brutal. What's with you? So bad.
I hated First Class though.
It was so bad. X-Men First Class, actually, since they started doing that, it's been so much better. But that's okay. That's okay because then I'll go see Apocalypse and I will enjoy the living fuck out of it, and you'll be like, I don't like those guys.
Actually, I haven't watched anything since First Class, so I gotta get caught up. I gotta watch Days of Future Past, Wolverine 2.
See, watch Wolverine. See, the thing is that Wolverine 2, I think they were coming out with a third Wolverine, but
yeah, they are. I just want to see Lady Deathstrike in it. I just never got around to it.
Wolverine 2 wasn't that good.
The thing is
I love Lady Deathstrike.
They essentially bastardized. Right. Like, here's the thing: X-Men Origins Wolverine, right? They essentially fuckered up Lady Deathstrike into that movie. You do know the chick with the growing fingernails was supposed to be Lady Deathstrike, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think Wolverine 1 was that. It was a decent action flick, but they fucked up the story kind of in general.
Good God, Deadpool. That's all we need to say. That's all we need to say.
Well,
Deadpool.
I still haven't watched Deadpool. Actually, I'm bad. One of my coworkers got me.
Got Travis. Travis just like shot up like a fucking lightning bolt. Like, what? You have not seen Deadpool yet?
I haven't seen it either. I saw it. I'm meaning to get it on DVD. Or
guys,
Blu-ray.
I have it on USB. One of my coworkers brought it. I just haven't watched it yet.
It's a movie that was prophesized by the comic. I mean, come on.
Yes.
I'm not the biggest movie buff though. Like, I could have movies and like it'll sit on my hard drive for like a year.
Yeah, time gets in my way. It's either gaming or movies. I have a hard time doing both, and most times I'm gonna choose gaming. So
that's how I am. Like, that's why I don't watch a lot of TV shows either. That's the exact reason.
Yeah. Did you see that post where it was the bit of the comic that prophesized Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool?
No, but that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, in the Deadpool comic, there was I may be wrong, but if I remember correctly, and it was like in a Reddit post, it was like a comic panel that it was Deadpool saying, that he looked like Ryan Reynolds crossed with a Shar-Pei. And so
the prophecy has come to pass.
So that's how it it was prophesized that Ryan Reynolds will play Deadpool in the movie.
Nice.
It's really, really good. You guys should watch it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get around to it.
It is hands down probably like one of the best superhero movies ever put out. And the sales figures speak to that. So we'll let it go. But hey, Hey, back on the whole gaming thing. I know.
Yeah.
We
Oh, yeah,
occasionally.
gaming.
We went over all media and sports and everything. It's good.
Yeah,
though. It's
we
good
just
stuff.
literally just went around the world. Now we're back to gaming.
We
So-
do that every week.
Yeah, it's
I'm
pretty
glad-
much every week. But
It's
so
like we
let's.
always end up on some kind of Bethesda game.
Yeah, usually. But let's go ahead and get on to our evergreen, which this one's kind of different and unique. We're going to talk about gaming on Windows versus Linux. If I could spell, that would very much help. So, despite there's a lot of claims and advertising pushes from giants such as Valve, Linux has really kind of struggled to gain any footing in the gaming market. In fact, showing declines in recent polls. What do you guys think it would take for Linux to actually get a proper platform for gaming?
Be more like PS4. No, I'm joking. Sorry, guys.
No,
PS4
straight up
is on
that-
a variation of Linux.
That
It's-
Steam
like
OS
this is.
was Linux based, and it was essentially a console OS. So
Unfortunately, I think the only thing that would and this is the problem because it's not 99% doubt it's going to happen is either there becomes a way that you can just take games that are developed for Windows and port them straight over to Linux easily.
Where's
I don't
Wine?
know. I don't know enough about how these things work to see if that's even if that's even possible.
I mean, you could
or-
run some of these games in Wine,
Or
but
Linux
that's kind of-
becomes more popular, because the only reason why Microsoft is, or not Microsoft, the Windows is the way it is in terms of gaming, is because of its popularity, right?
ubiquity, yeah.
yeah.
It's not
I
so
think-
much
I think
popularity
ubiquity-
because it's usually not very well liked,
I
but
guess,
it is ubiquitous.
Yeah, ubiquity
Yeah,
is
but
probably
I think
the term,
I think
but-
ubiquity is the right word here. I think ubiquity is the big thing. When you think PC, Windows and PCs kind of go hand in hand. People already know Windows. We're taught Windows at an early age as children.
Oh yeah.
Especially nowadays. When we know they're teaching them in schools and they're teaching them how to run Windows, and that was genius. So, do I want to go learn this whole new OS where at points I kind of have to learn to kind of be a tech just to operate it?
Mhm.
Or do I just want to use the OS that I already know
and then
on top of just using games I already know, work the way I already know? I'm adding to what I already know, what I already have.
Well, you take that and you look at it from the perspective of a game developer or why did I just my words?
Well,
just-
I'm thinking game developers. Game developers going to go where the audience is.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You look at it from the perspective of a game developer or a publisher, and it's like, the market share of Linux is really, really small,
Because the
and
user base.
unlikely to gain too much traction, most likely.
Do you think it's a double-edged sword? Where it's like, if more people were to use Linux, we make more games for Linux. Gamers are like, well, hey, if there were more games on Linux, I'd use Linux. I think in an ideal world, most people will go to Linux. It makes the most sense. Linux is open platform. It's everything that most users want.
Yeah, but our gamers we're talking about OSs here. Our gamers gamers don't drive OS sales,
But Linux is free.
but Linux is free. You are correct.
So I think sales, that argument for sales automatically goes out the window. It's free. It's open platform.
I guess
you
I
can
should
do
have
whatever
said
the hell you want with it.
installs, right? Like it's. I don't ever see it becoming too much
There-
bigger unless some weird revolution happens within the population where everybody wants to rebel against Microsoft. So
Yeah, that's not
we all-
going to happen.
we all
And-
become
Mm.
elite hackers.
You have a vocal minority of people who bash the hell out of Microsoft, and no matter what Microsoft does, they will always be the antitrust giant that is trying to fuck over everybody. Like, Microsoft could literally stop doing anything revolving around computers or technology of any sort and turn all of their buildings into free clinics to work on curing cancer and saving baby ducks for free and sell nothing to nobody, and you would still have those people out there that are like, they're fucking antitrust and like literally they Microsoft can never do anything right in those people's eyes. But for the most part, like the majority of people, it's what's there, and they first of all probably don't even know that any other options are out there. They might have heard of Mac, and that's crazy.
Well, I think saying they haven't heard of Mac is a bit of a reach. I think everybody at this point knows what
Mac, iPhone, Apple, yes, iPhone, yes, Mac.
I think they even know Mac computers.
I think they know Mac. They just scared of it. Like,
the thing is that while they might have heard of Macs or seen them, they might not know what OS X is. And they might think the Macs just run Windows. You greatly underestimate the informed nature of your basic consumer.
No, that's true.
Maybe you're right
true.
too.
Yeah,
and I say that too with my recent entry in the IT industry, where I've seen some people say some silly things.
I'm an example of the basic consumer. I'm on a Mac right now. I recently got Mac. My wife needed to get it only for like school purposes, but before then it was just all PC. So I get on this thing. I don't know anything about the operating system. I don't know what this stuff's called.
Your wife bought a Mac for school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why?
It was I don't remember the
if
specifics.
It's graphic design or something like that.
It's like some program she needed. And she felt like a Mac would be better. I honestly, between the three of us, I think it was just an excuse to get a Mac. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people have the perception that Macs are better. I'm not here dissing or shitting on Macs. Macs are fine computers, but they're not necessarily better or worse.
I think Macs are aesthetically appealing.
Oh yeah, they're very aesthetically appealing. I love OS X. I think it's very light, very well optimized.
Well, I mean,
my biggest problem with Mac is the price tag, and I know Windows well enough. Like I was talking about with the with Linux, I can get a PC to do almost anything I want to on a day-to-day basis, to the point where it's like, do I want to learn a new OS and then kind of work around the limitations of Mac when I already know Windows limitations and generally how to get around them?
Right.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is that, and this is something I've told a lot of people on there, is that just like iPhone, same way, is that they do what they do well, and they're by no means bad. I mean, I hated. I had an iPhone in the gaming space. In the gaming space, Apple doesn't exist. Period. Like they do not focus on gaming at all. But my main thing is that you pay like at least a 30% premium to have a glowing apple, a half-eaten piece of fruit on your computer. That's literally it. Because the operating system is free according to Apple. The operating system is free.
But you pay $25 every time they come up with a new animal on it.
No, you don't pay to upgrade them. They're free to upgrade now.
So when they go to OS 11, they're not going to charge?
Last I heard, I
haven't had to pay for an upgrade yet, so
yeah, no,
I don't know about that.
Like I said, last I knew of, they don't charge for upgrades to their operating system.
I'll take that L. I will hold that low.
They might change that. I mean, that's entirely up to them. But last I knew, you never paid for upgrades to OS X. But in any case, though, you're paying a premium for the culture of the item, not the item itself. Same with the iPhone. You're paying a premium for what amounts to essentially a above average piece of technology that comes with a culture attached to it, a connotation attached to it, that you're like this hipster that hangs out at Starbucks with your MacBook
Speaking of
Pro.
hipsters, hi Joe.
Yeah, Joe's definitely one of them. Yeah, hops in the chat, skips the podcast. Anyway, but the thing is that Linux doesn't really exist in the gaming space. Linux does, but when you look at the actual amount of games that are available for Linux, like on Steam, it's abysmal.
Saying Linux exists in the gaming space, don't Linux and Mac get about the same amount of ports?
No, God, no. No, not even close. Like Mac gets like half of the ports that Linux does. That I'm pretty certain on there. I think Linux has maybe 1,000, couple thousand games on it.
That's weird because Apple has a pretty good user base, and if you told people that, hey, you can buy a Mac and play AAA games on them, and people already have Macs, and the people that are afraid of buying gaming PCs, a lot of them, oh, I already have a Mac, or hey, I'll buy a Mac and play games on it.
So, so if you look at the count of games as of September 2015, Steam had about 1,500 games compatible natively with Linux. With the entire range, I should say. The entire range of Linux distributions, not just like Ubuntu or SteamOS. 1,500 all Linux distributions. Windows has about 6,500. Okay, to give you an example. I'm trying to find exactly what Linux or what Mac runs, and that's just Steam, by the way. That's not counting any other third-party distribution platform.
Steam is the biggest one, so I think it's good. It's a good tool to use.
That's where I'm going on there. I can't find what I was trying to pull up real quick on there, but from what I understand, since Steam, or I should say, since Valve's push into Linux, that has drastically shot them ahead of Mac as far as the amount of titles available. And that's entirely Valve's fault because they're really trying to push Steam OS. You can't have an OS that's for gaming if you have no games. So they had to really get a lot of games compatible. Really hasn't helped. So then the next...
Well, I think the problem with Steam OS, though, is performance, which is the other problem I was going to say with Linux. Is like PC players are sticklers for performance. People always say, oh, yeah, well, you only game on PC for graphics. A lot of these PC players they're like, I want those high frame rates. You don't, when you get around PC circles, you don't hear about people talking about graphics like that.
Yeah,
that's a misconception because that's all we hear is that PC players, they only care about graphics.
Well, the problem is too with the console players, especially if you get in Facebook groups and stuff, they don't want to listen to the PC players. They don't want to listen to the people playing PC talk about PC. They just want to keep, their assumptions and kind of remain ignorant in that particular circle.
Yeah,
right. I agree.
I was trying to pull up some stats to see if I could find out all of them.
Well, we're about that time. Maybe we should hop into final thoughts while you look into that switch caller.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So let's go ahead.
We're right at the mark.
Move on to our final thoughts here. Travis, go ahead and give your final thoughts.
My final thoughts is that I really need to play some more games. Yes, I need to get a new PC, but I just games in general. I've had some very stressful long weeks, and hopefully I'm going to be getting a break soon. Taking a couple days off work, and I'm hoping for like a 5-day break, and gonna play some mad video games during that time. If I
what will be the perfect game to help you get over all that stress? Doom.
Doom.
I was just seeing a just really quick. I was seeing a like one of the Easter eggs with Doom, and it was the minifigure.
Oh, those things are all over the place.
Yeah, where you fist bump the mini Doom figure. That was really cool, and that immediately upped my interest in the game when developers do cool
or even
stuff.
playing the old school Doom. I think your laptop can probably play the original Doom, and the original Doom still holds up.
Oh yeah, of course.
I was playing it. I have my old school game series, and I was playing it a few days ago, and I was still having a blast with the game's 20 years old.
If you say so.
That I had a blast with it?
The original Doom can be summed up in 6 letters: IDKFA. If anybody doesn't know what that means, you all are too fucking young.
What did you say?
IDKFA. That is the original Doom. That is the all weapons of max ammo. You type that into your keyboard, gives you everything, including the BFG 9000, which in that game I'm pretty certain that was the only way to get that gun.
I actually did not know the cheat code until just now.
IDKFA.
Well, when I played the original, I played it on console.
Peasantry.
Which, it is peasantry, actually. But you know what? I was 10, 11. I didn't have access to a PC. I didn't own my first PC until I was 15.
Oh, you weren't enlightened until...
Yeah.
So,
So
and then from that point on, my PC just
Then-
became my main entertainment box. And I just thought about this generation. Why don't I just play
So-
games
so
on this
just-
damn thing? It can do it.
so just to kind of give it that nice little break in there, I'm gonna go ahead and post a link in the chat there. There's all the cheats for Doom. You're welcome. Not the new Doom, the old Doom, the real Doom.
Yeah, you better put
Real.
that it's the old Doom. People are getting excited.
Hey, you know what? I would love for Kev to try that on the new one and see if they work.
I
That'd be
just
cool.
might actually.
That would be fucking hilarious if
Yeah.
like IDGOD or IDKFA works. That would be great.
Actually, I'm gonna take a look at that later.
But yeah, so in any
saved it.
case, Nick, final thoughts,
Hello.
shilling, all that good stuff.
Final thoughts. Final thoughts is I need to finish this Uncharted game, so I can stop dodging these spoilers like a plague. So, but I like to take my time with games, so I'm not going to be rushing this thing. Play a little bit more tonight, tomorrow, hopefully finish it this week, so I can get on that multiplayer with Kev next week.
Yeah, I was trying to get you all. Well, I thought we were gonna play this weekend,
Yeah,
but
man.
you know, Doom has consumed my life. Like I haven't touched
See?
my PS4 since
Okay,
Doom
so-
came out.
So we're on the same level. So hopefully you will be a little, exhausted with Doom by next weekend. We can get on this multiplayer.
Well,
Um,
hopefully I'll still have beaten the campaign by then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because as soon
So-
as I finish this Doom campaign, I'm hopping right into Uncharted.
yeah. There we go. There we go.
GG.
I mean, other than that, definitely good to be on the podcast. Appreciate you guys having me on once again. I missed you guys. You guys are some awesome fellows. I missed you guys. Yeah. I know, tear. And then as for me, you check me out. I've been writing a lot lately, guys. On tickgn.com, the Inner Circle. Been doing a lot of writing there, so check me out on there. News stories, opinionated pieces, things like that. I'm trying to get my feet wet in these streets. So, but yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. That's it from me.
Here's Kev.
Play Doom because Doom is amazing. That's mostly it. And I mean, I'm here every week. Kev the Gamer. We already know where to find me. So yeah, play Doom. Come get this work. Come get chainsawed. Stop team killing. That's what you can get from this. Stop fucking team killing. Because it is annoying when I'm stomping your teammate and then you come out of nowhere and
Quit.
shotgun me in the back.
Quit being a bitch and grow up. I'm gonna fucking
Yo.
team kill you all goddamn day.
That's
They need to get good.
I did
They
that
need
all
to get
day.
good.
That was my favorite pastime in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer was killing Kev. That's why I loved the Phoenix Adepts. I would use their little pull ability where they would tether the guy. I can't remember the name of the ability offhand. Where they tethered the guy and jerk him across the screen. I would do that to a bunch of enemies and throw them at Kev.
Yeah,
Wow.
he would. And intentionally get me killed just to troll.
Yep.
that is.
But it was my fault for running around with the Volus Vanguard.
Yeah.
Then you play Mass
Cannonball.
Effect, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, so the Volus, they had a Volus Vanguard in the multiplayer.
Wow.
He was the
And I
cannonball,
love that
man.
little motherfucker.
He was the best.
See, I
he
didn't
was
play the multiplayer to that extent. They had a Bolus
Right.
Vanguard,
In
really?
the last
yeah.
set of DLC, they put a Volus Vanguard in
Yeah.
there.
Like I said, it wasn't the last set. It was the second to last that added the Volus on there. The last set was all the really off the wall characters, like the female Turian Vanguard. Was the Vanguard they added?
Okay, you're right. Yeah, he was in the collector DLC. You're right.
Yep. But yeah. So in any case, just a special note and an addendum to what Kev says. Everybody, please team kill Kev.
Team
Thank
kill
you.
him.
Thank you. Anyway,
Just
so
know I will be teabagging, and I will be teabagging in Uncharted 2 as soon as I figure out how. I did teabag a guy in the multiplayer the other day. I had to go up against the car, and I was like ducking in and out of cover on his face because that's the only way I could figure out how to teabag.
In Uncharted 4, you're going to be doing the dab and all that other stuff.
I saw GameSpot put a video up. Who did the dance better, Nathan Drake or Drake the artist?
I say Nathan Drake, dog. I got to give it to
I
him.
saw it. I'm not.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Drake. I guess Drake he can sell some albums, but he can't dance.
Nope, not better than a video
And
game
he can
character.
careers too. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, Meek.
So in any case, just to kind of bring some summary on there, Mac and Linux have about the same amount of games on Steam. However, Mac has about 3.5 times more players on, according to the latest Steam hardware survey. 3.5% are Mac users and 0.9% are Linux users. So despite having about the same amount of games available, Mac still has a substantially larger player base. But as far as my final thoughts goes, you guys know who I am, Angelus de Mortiel, the guy that occasionally hosts this podcasty thingy when I'm not skipping weeks in order to play video games and just claiming it's due to Mother's Day. Oh shit, did I say that out loud? In any case, as we know, the kind of standard spiel on here, we're live here every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and then also video on demand on my channel with face cameras up here. If you prefer to hear the podcast with some fancy gameplay stuff, Kev's channel will have a link down in the description, and you can find the podcast video on demand there. And we're here every week and doing the same thing every week, in which case you start to question, are we even here at all?
Interesting.
and then we
I
start.
know where I'm at all times because I'm married to a woman who will find me and beat me.
Yeah,
I better know where I'm at all times.
Me too. I better know
She will
as well.
smash my PC with a sledgehammer.
Oh,
I don't know where I'm at. Because if I don't know where I'm at with that bitch.
She's gonna burn your comic books, Kev. She's gonna burn your comic books.
If that happens to me, you know where I'm gonna be at. I'm gonna be in jail.
Damn.
Just saying. Don't touch my shit.
You do realize that anybody can watch this podcast, right?
Oh, hey, honey. Yeah, you know I'm crazy. You know you can't take me serious. I'm crazy. we know.
So in any case,
Mama said she was gonna give me some help, but she never got it.
But before Nick gets himself into too much more trouble here,
We're gonna on the couch tonight.
We're gonna go ahead. Yeah, no, she got to take the power cord to your PlayStation. Sorry, buddy, you're done for.
She in the breaker box, bro.
But we're gonna go ahead and sign off here for tonight, guys, and we will catch you next week on the Pixel Crashers podcast.